Welcome, everyone. I am super pumped to introduce you to one of our breakout groups. This is our pediatric doctors breakout group, and we think we're going to turn it into a panel, which is going to be amazing because you can prep your questions for these brilliant pediatric doctors that I have here with me today. So I want to introduce you to each of them in case you haven't got a chance to meet them. I have met them all through the ICPA pretty much. And then I'm going to, let them tell you a little bit about themselves, and we'll talk more about what you can expect when you come to Mile High and you see them all and meet them all in person. All right, Bryant, you want to start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself in case people haven't met you yet.
All right. Well, my name is Brian Harris. I'm a perinatal and pediatric chiropractor. I've been practicing for the past 15 years in Annapolis, Maryland. Graduated from Life Chiropractic College West in Hayward, California in 2008. I have a CACCP through the ICPA, as well as being perinatal certified and Webster certified through the ICPA. I'm also a Focus Academy doc and Brain Blossom provider through the Focus Academy. I also have been going through Monica Berger's Developing Minds University. I've also completed Marty Rosen's SOT pediatric certification as well. So I am well-versed. I'm somewhat of a seminar junkie, and I need to learn and know all things. So on top of doing multiple Carrick courses and functional neurology as well. So there's
anything else? Anything else you've done in your spare time?
I mean, there are other minor details, but chiropractically speaking, I think that's it in its totality.
Yeah, Brian, please get it together.
Yeah. Wow.
Might as well become an IBCLC next, right?
Oh, amazing.
Oh, and I'm going to be a DBB facilitator at the end of August as well.
Sweet. Yay. You are quite the overachiever, but how amazing. Like, seriously, what a genius for everyone to get to learn from.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Wow. I hope so. Yeah. And that CACCP is so hard. Are you guys all CACCP?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Ian's a DACCP.
I got the D.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. Actually.
Quote that. Well, I don't know about that, but the CACCP is very hard. I will say that.
This is what to expect from this group.
Yeah, you're going to have a good time. I do think we should make a drinking game out of your guys' breakout and come up with some words that you guys don't know about, and you'll just find out when you see the whole crowd drinking.
I mean, just watch what happens live at Mile High.
Yeah, I'm Andy Cohen. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm here for that. All right, who's next?
Alphabetically, Steph.
Alphabetically? That's aren't I at the end?
Ian's next.
Libs.
Oh, we're going last name alphabetical?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm Stephanie Libs. I'm aspiring to all the things Brian is learning. I am a CACCP, soon to be a DBB facilitator through Jen Santos as well. I am in Marty Rosen's course right now. I'm also in Focus right now. So I'm just following Bryant around.
And an IBCLC.
I did become an IBCLC a couple years ago. I feel like I'm kind of self-proclaimed the breastfeeding doc in my community. And that's really my specialty is babies and breastfeeding and all things, from belly to birth to womb. So I'm most excited about being there with my friends right here and lots of the fun banter that we have. And actually, like, in all seriousness, I truly love these docs in this group right now because they bring a higher level of clinical certainty and competency, right, Jen? Competency to not only our own practices, but to our profession. Yes. And so that's something I'm most excited about this Mile High event is being with these 3 other docs, and of course you too, Elise, of like just bringing a really deep level of clinical badassery to the profession.
You couldn't have said it better, because I think that's what I said in the Mile High Pediatric Summit. And Justin texted me about it right after he heard me say it. But I have no problem calling out the phonies in pediatric chiropractic who are doing it for like trend of marketing. And like, I see kids, and nothing bothers me more than being improper with the way that you're caring for children or pregnant people. And so that's why I was grateful to get to curate your guys' group, because I'm like, if we're going to have doctors learning and literally getting CE credits, which how blessed are these doctors who get to get CE credits learning from you guys? They need to be learning from the best in our profession, and those who are also moving this forward in our profession too. So I'm super grateful to have you guys all here, all of you way overqualified, not doctors. I mean, very qualified to be teaching this.
That's such an honor. That's really a huge honor to hear that.
And I love how all of us are life grads in some capacity too. 3 life Westerns and 1 life you, baby.
Right. Awesome.
All right, who's next?
Santos or Stolman? I guess Santos will be next, right?
Yeah, shit without the I remember. So I'm Jen Santos. I am a prenatal pediatric chiropractor. I taught at Life West for 7 years. I taught obstetrics, gynecology, pediatric pathology, prenatal and pediatric adjusting, and helped oversee the prenatal and pediatric cases that came through the student clinic. So that was kind of cool. I retired last quarter, and now I am focusing on teaching for the ICPA. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. I teach the adjusting expectations, navigating the highs and lows of family practice, and
an amazing course.
That's something I'm super passionate about, because I feel like a lot of times when we talk about like all things pediatric and prenatal, it's always the highs and the really exciting things, and we neglect to really talk about the lows. And it's really hard, especially if you're in private practice by yourself, to experience those lows and feel like you're not somehow responsible for whatever, or like take it on. And so that's been kind of a passion project of mine for a long time. I love teaching. I teach dynamic body balancing, which is Carol Phillips' work. And when I grow up, I want to be just like Bryant and do all the things. I am in practice still. I have 3 offices, 15 chiropractors. All of us are Life West grads. And yeah, super fun.
That's amazing. So I already know the answer to this, but I think it's important for other doctors to know, because it could also start to spark some ideas for them too, before they attend your guys' breakout session. When we talk about lows in a prenatal, perinatal, pediatric chiropractic practice, what would be some of those examples that you would touch on of what some of those lows could be?
So, I mean, the first one typically would be like infertility or subfertility. The next one would be like stillborn or miscarriage, stillborn, infant loss, maternal loss, perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, all of that kind of stuff.
Even an unwanted pregnancy.
An unwanted pregnancy.
Yeah,
because especially in the chiropractic world, someone comes in and they say, I'm pregnant. It's very common for the chiropractor to be like, yay, congratulations, I'm so excited. And you're not actually listening to what they're saying and their language in that, because not all pregnancies are happy and not everybody wants to be pregnant. And sometimes it might not be, the right season for their life or whatever. And so that's kind of another thing that I talk about, is not letting your excitement for all things pregnancy and babies and all that like cloud your judgment of what the reality is for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think those are great questions, if anything sparks for anyone who's listening, to ask too, because after taking your course, I think you have a really great way of helping doctors, but also like us, teach that to our team too, and mentor our team in some of the language behind it. And even just how to navigate some of that, just pregnancy in general, like you said, and how to make sure that we're not asking questions that could be really insensitive too. But then I think bringing in more, if everyone's open to this, more inclusivity language into, some doctors can be so focused on, are you having a boy or girl? And like, we don't say that in our office. And so I think just maybe bringing up the topics within doctors in Colorado or doctors coming to Mile High about how to navigate, everyone's different belief systems and like lifestyle and everything, just how to make sure you really have an inclusive practice and aren't going into the standards that you maybe learned 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Ian's last.
The man, the myth, the legend himself.
So you're the only one who's been to Mile High before. So this is your third or fourth year?
This is my third year.
This is your third year. All right.
Yeah. I'm Ian Stolman. I graduated life in 2011. I've been in private practice for 12 years. We have a nice size family wellness, subluxation, correction, prenatal, pediatric practice. I work closely with a bunch of midwives and OBs and pediatricians. I actually worked in a birth center for about 7 years. And I've been teaching for the ICPA for about 5 years now. And I'm really excited to be back at Mile High.
Yeah. What topic do you teach for the ICPA for anyone who doesn't know?
I teach a course on ethical communication in a perinatal practice.
What does that mean?
So too often, for too long, the focus of chiropractic marketing was just get people in the door, and then you can throw insurance forms in the air and have money come raining down upon you. And those
Especially
days,
Florida.
Yeah, especially here in Florida.
Yeah.
Those days of get people in the door no matter what, and then promise them the world so you can take advantage of their insurance company, I think are gone. And we need, as chiropractors, to learn how to communicate the importance of pediatric, prenatal, family wellness chiropractic, not for the symptom treatment, disease, alternative medicine type of approach, but for the simple fact that people are better off being unsubluxated, and people are better off having routine chiropractic for the purpose of subluxation correction. And if we can do that effectively, and if we can do that ethically, then people are going to stick around, they're going to refer, and we're going to be able to change the context of chiropractic within the profession.
Absolutely. And you do a great job in your course. Yeah, there we go. You do a great job in your course too with guiding, like I'd say some of those chiropractors who got started in practice on like the model of scripts, I would say, and like practice management models. You do offer some great examples of how to communicate for those who just sometimes don't know how to figure things out on their own. I think you like make it pretty clear in your course too on ethical ways to communicate as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think since we're going to do more of a panel style for you guys, I have been asking all the speakers like what people can expect from you or expect to learn from you, but you could either answer
chaos
or pure chaos. I already am like, are you guys messaging in private chat right now? Are you? I thought for sure you guys were like sending memes or something. I was like, I already know I'm like trying to like interview and they probably are just like messing with each other right now.
We do plenty of that. There's been a lot of chatter, a lot of discussions, a lot of memes.
I mean, you guys are going to be a good time. You're going to be really fun to be around, but I already know everyone's learning a ton from you guys. So either share what people can expect to learn from you, or maybe questions like kind of I brought up with you, Jen, like what questions you would want to spark for others to ask. Like, feel free to like, let's open up some discussions that maybe aren't had in our profession regularly, or things that are just different, different within that you don't hear anywhere else, because we are different. You guys are different than what you'd hear within general chiropractic. We'll just say general chiropractic groups, right? So you can answer either one of those.
So Jen, remember, different chiropractors are different.
Yeah,
It is.
Different chiropractors are different.
I mean,
Mind-blowing concepts here.
I was teaching a class on cranial work and it was so profound. And I was like, different heads are different.
We all wrote it down.
What a stupid thing to say, but it really holds true, and it holds true for all things. And
that's the wisdom you can expect from this panel at Mile High.
I mean, I want to encourage people to ask what the dirty Santos is, right? You know,
Well,
should we get a story behind that?
yeah, we can let's talk about
I
that.
think she's starting a certification course for that.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm the
So-
first certified instructor. Happened in San Diego.
Yeah.
I'm the East Coast rep. Yep.
Just start getting your thumbs ready.
Yep. It's you know, I mean,
I mean, so I'm going to try to plug our panel for a second. We're obviously four big personalities, with Elise trying to steer the ship right now. I do not envy her. But what you have are four people who are super passionate about perinatal chiropractic and have each kind of delve deep into our own little subspecialty, right? So I know Jen is super passionate about pregnancy work. Steph described herself as the breastfeeding doc. Brian is what I would consider like the pediatric neuro type of, I mean, honestly, every fucking certification on the planet,
Yeah.
right? I'm more of like a family wellness, perinatal, I don't know, I guess I'm a blend, I don't know, but all four of us are super passionate about what we do. I think I can safely say that we're all very good at what we do, and we want to share our knowledge and our expertise with everybody, because we all know that we can't accomplish any of our goals by ourselves, right? Unless we have this entire profession who are just as fired up, just as knowledgeable, just as excited about what we do, so that they go into their communities and do exactly the same. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And so, we're all coming to Mile High on our own dime because we want to share this amazing thing called prenatal and pediatric chiropractic with everybody at Mile High. We're going to have a good time. And I promise you're going to learn some really good things that you'll be able to take back to your practice, to your community, and change lives, on Monday when you get back.
And
And if I can just add to that, I'm also going to say that the four of us, like you hit it on the head, and we're all very passionate and very good at what we do.
Mhm.
There's a lot that we do similarly, and there's a lot that we do differently. And so it's really cool. Like some of my favorite moments are like spending time in our personal lives together, the four of us, and like figuring out what we do, compare and contrast, and what works and what doesn't work, and what we've tried and didn't work, what tried does work. And I think that's something that we are going to bring to this panel also, is like we have so much similarity. We have a lot of us have a lot of overlap in some similar training, but the way we execute it and deliver it in practice from a clinical perspective can be very different. And to me, that was one of the most eye-opening things as a student, going and seeing these pediatric chiropractors and seeing how different it can look, and it works. And you have to find what works for you and what resonates best. And so I'm excited for that, for this panel.
That's a great way to put it. It's not a one size fits all. And I think sometimes even when people get into the ICPA trainings, they think it's going to be like a handbook of this is exactly how you do it. And it's more like a smorgasbord of like, choose what resonates for you and start working with your people and find what works, and find what aligns for you.
I would say
And-
ICPA is like a starting point. Like if you want to see PEDS, you have to start with ICPA, and
Yeah.
that's your starting point. That's your baseline. And then you can learn more from there. So it's kind of a smorgasbord. I like that.
Yeah. There's so much.
one of the things that I want to touch on and I thought about prior to this was when I look at all four of our practices, one of the things that one of a colleague of mine had told me before, or someone told her when she started practicing, that you can't make it as a pediatric chiropractor and be all cash. And all four of us are all cash, right? And then one of the things that I think what you get from us is a diverse perspective for certain things. Like with Jen, she can show scalability. She has 3 offices, 15 different chiropractors.
Yeah.
Right? You have You have Ian, who also started off in a birth center, and sometimes that could be has his own set of nuances and differences. And people always ask about how one would start off in a birth center, working with all these birth professionals, and how that can jumpstart a pediatric practice.
Mhm.
You know, on top of having his own additional private practice, on top of starting them at the same time. He fails to talk about that a lot. At the same time, he decided not to start one, but two practices. And
Don't
then you
do
have,
it. Don't do it.
Do not recommend.
and then
But
you have
did it.
staff who decided to try to bridge that gap, like between certain things. She's like, I saw this need for this gap between breastfeeding and chiropractic, and seeing this thing, and became an IBCLC. And then also has multiple associates in the office that are attempting to replicate or do what she does uniformly to support these families. Because in that sort of thing, when she has this title of IBCLC, people would want to come see her. But in visiting her practice, you walk in there and see that it's just like a hodgepodge. Everybody is capable of doing the same exact things, because Steph does a really good of training and doing all these things so it can be uniform in practice.
Mm.
I said, all while being cash. And then for me, for the longest time, I was a solo provider. I had no staff, nothing else, just me. All right. And people say, how do you do it? I'm like, it can be done, and it can be done successfully. So I think all four of us, what you can get is just a different perspective. When people say it can't be done, you can look at all four of us and know that it can be done, and be done really well.
I love that. I love that perspective. And thank you for just providing that information for everyone too, so that if something sounds like, oh, I'm interested in opening up in a birth center, or you can assume one thing about like, 15 doctors, that'd be amazing. Is it? I don't know. I'm not sure. Go talk to Jen. I have no idea. But it's nice so that, you know, everyone's going to resonate differently, or think one thing and they can go and get your guys' perspective on, you've been there in so many different ways. So yeah, I love the variety. And showing that you can be successful in whatever way is authentic to you too, and who you are.
Something that was fun for us was when we were in school, we had to write up our business plan. And I had worked in my dad's office, like we homeschooled much like most second generation chiropractors. Like I homeschooled in the back of his office with my 4 siblings. And for like math homework, it was like balancing his books and like taking EOBs and like making sure that the insurance company like paid. And so like, it was really interesting because when we started school, I was like, I am never doing insurance whatsoever. And so the entire way through school, Reggie was our big mentor and our like grandfather of chiropractic, who really like helped foster our vision of our practice. And for our business plan, we wrote out our business plan and we turned it in, and our business teacher failed us. And it was the first and only time I have ever seen like an F in big like crayon writing with like a circle around it. And I was like, oh my God. And he's like, you need to redo this. He's like, your practice will fail. This will not happen, because we were going to do like a membership practice. And he was like, what if you get a family with 10 kids? And we were like, nobody has 10 kids in our area. It's too expensive. Like you can't have 10 kids here. And so then, you know, it kind of pissed me off when he failed us, because I was like, I don't fail at things like, and so I got out my dad's, you know, basically like wrote like a 20,000 page, like, I mean, it was literally like almost an entire ream of paper of the business plan, and how much like stamps would cost annually, and how much, you know, like electricity would cost. And I just put it all together, turned it in, and he's like, oh, this is exactly perfect. And it was my dad's model practice. It was like, you know, Mercedes 80s, like,
Yeah.
you know, $186 a visit from the insurance companies and blah, blah. And I was like, this is horseshit. So we took that exact failed business model, opened our practice, and the first family that we had coming in, it was a mom, dad, and a daughter. And we're in there and we're going through, and she's got, the daughter has a 66-degree scoliosis. And we're talking about, you know, like lifetime maintenance care and, you know, like all this stuff. And the dad says, well, how much like you have a family membership, like how many kids does that include? And we're like, you, partner, and dependent children. And he's like, well, we have 10 kids. And I was like, okay. I get home that night and I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, oh my God, we're totally gonna fail. It's never gonna work. And he's like, no, we're doing it. And I was like, all right. But the thing is that man was a pastor at a church, at a big church in our town. And when he finds a deal, he starts telling everybody. So he really was one of the first people who really like built our practice for us. And it was completely word of mouth. And they're still practice members today, and it's been 10 years, and it's really cool. But I always go back to that because it's like we were told you cannot do this, and we were just like, we're doing it. And, three offices later, we've kind of showed that it works. But
yeah, I thought you were going to say you were like Reggie Box on the Wall.
Yeah. So what's interesting is one of the last conversations we had with Reggie, that's what we were going to do. And one of the last conversations I had with him, I was like, as a mom, I never have cash with me, so this whole box on the wall thing, like I would never have cash. If you were to start a practice today, would you do box on the wall again? And he actually said, no, he would gear it more towards a membership where it was like auto debited. And that's kind of, that really more so resonated with us. And so that's kind of what we did.
Yeah. Cool. That's really neat.
Yeah.
It's a great story. And you're still membership model. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Totally. Yep.
Cool. Did you grandfather in the family of 10?
I mean, yeah, And what's really cool is they've now gone on to like have their own kids and get married. Yeah. So now they're different family memberships. But what's really cool is that when people find something that they like and they're passionate about, they want to tell other people. And so it's really, it's still that one family still continues to be a huge
blessing on your life.
Blessing on my life. Yeah. It's really great.
That is amazing. That is. Well, I know that everyone attending Mile High on September 21st through the 23rd is going to be completely blown away by your guys' breakout. I'm super excited to be in there and just listen in on everything that you guys are about to share. Is there any closing remarks or anything that you want to leave the listeners with?
Just come see us because it'll be fun. And FOMO is real, and
we will have the most fun.
Right. It's going to be the most fun. And you know how many people from like the ICPA group still reach out and they're like, can you tell me the Dirty Santos? I'm like, no, you missed it. Too bad. Yeah. So just, FOMO's real. So just come hang out with us. Let's pack the room. It'll be great.
Yes. Right. I love that. All right. Well, everyone who's listening, make sure to join us in Denver, Colorado for Mile High, September 21st through the 23rd. We'll see you there. Thank you, everyone.